All right. Well, yeah, thanks for joining. My name is Tyler Sumala. I am the founder of Growth Detect. Growth Detect, for those of you that don't know, is it's a weekly newsletter that I put out on Sunday afternoons where I'm sharing sales and marketing strategies that will help you help specifically architecture firm owners attract and win more high quality clients. There's pictures of us because you don't see us here already. Um, but that's what I do. It serves about 15,000 architects every single weekend. Hopefully, some of you are already here from that. If you are, thanks for jumping in. But then we're also going to be talking about. I'm just hosting the main man today. We have Casey Johnson joining us from Motif Architects. Casey, can you give us a little introduction to yourself?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for organizing this, Tyler, and the test fit team as well. It's an honor to be on a micro scale, coming up to a bigger company like you guys. So thank you for the time. My name's Casey. I'm a partner at Motif Architects. My wife and I created this firm after working for some of the largest engineering and architecture practices in the country. So we come from a really big scale and brought all those down, that experience down to a micro level. So we're kind of coining ourselves as micro architects. We're based in Austin, Texas. We have a lot of projects scattered throughout Texas and a couple out of state. Our practice is a blend of residential and commercial work. For our commercial side, we are actually primarily focused on micro developers, just like we're a micro firm. And that often tells of first time developers, a lot of folks that are coming in from different experiences and building their own companies and doing that through architecture. So, and those projects we have focused on are typically retail, offices, light industrial, and flex projects. So that's a little bit about our team there.
And I love it. You've coined it. You heard it here first. Micro firms. I'm kind of a fan of. I think that's better. Small firms can mean pretty much anything under 10. I feel like at least in the U.S., which is like 80% of firms. But micro, we're going under three.
That's
Ca-
right. Yeah.
Casey's going to trademark it. This is also the launching of micro firms. I like it. Um,
Yeah, we work with thousands of people on one project or multiple projects. So we learned a lot of lessons on how to be efficient and be able to keep up with what I would say small 10 group firms.
yeah.
Micro, we're going to keep it micro for a while.
Well,
So,
let's see. While we jump into the next topic, I'm curious. Like, drop into the chat. Let us know the size of your team. Any other micro firms present today? I know that I think we marketed this as like for small firms, but curious to see where we're at. Too late. We are a certified micro SWAM. I don't know what that is in Virginia. I'm totally intrigued. Um, uh, tell me more, Thomas. I want to know. Okay, cool. Well, Casey, we just got a good breakdown of the type of work that you're doing, who you're tackling. Like, let's talk about the early days of Motif getting started, and how you were tackling that work at the beginning.
yeah, yeah. So we started off with residential. There's a huge market out here in Austin, Central Texas, and throughout Texas. But we went back to our roots quickly after that and started jumping into more of industrial type projects. So for us to get back into that, though, it was a pretty big lift, right? We mostly start off project planning exercises and working with challenging sites. A lot of bigger firms didn't want to take on those projects, right? So as a lean micro firm, we really wanted to. We wanted to specialize in something pretty quick out of the bat, and finding tools like TestFit really helped us. Before TestFit, though, we were just doing a lot of things old school. Really studying on paper, labor intensive type stuff that usually requires a bigger team, um, a little bit more overhead effort, and more time, right? So but quickly that changed once we found test fit, and now we're able to offer something a little more exciting.
What did that manual process, because I'm sure like a lot of people can relate to that, but what did the manual process look like before? Like, how long did it take? How were you kind of managing that?
Yeah, yeah, good question. So always looking for a survey, and it's usually the first quick question, right? So, you got a piece of dirt. What can we do with it? We need to see some property lines, boundary lines, stuff like that. Topography as well, setbacks, zoning, all those issues that really not restrict the land, but try to provide guidance of what you can develop on that. So that takes a lot of upfront effort. We usually survey to get a plat map takes a while. There's some costs involved with that. Getting a diagram to actually all the pieces to even start a diagram, excuse me, is a big lift, right? So we actually start finally sketching on something, looking at parking calculations, pervious coverage, all that kind of stuff, right? So before test fit, that was quite a bit of work. Some of that was done at risk without even, in the pre-proposal phase for us to even try to hopefully be awarded the work. So there was a lot more overhead effort beforehand that we had to put up front.
Yeah. And it was just you and your wife, right? So trying to get the work at the same time that you are probably trying to deliver on work that already exists at the same time that you're putting up a lot of risk for projects that, and a lot of time for projects that you may or may not win.
Yeah. Somebody's got to take out the trash and update the website too. So
is that you as well? We've got it. That'll come. That's part 2 here. AI for trash and for web development. We're gonna hit that in a second.
With that comment said, though, every hour we're a professional service provider, right? We produce products based on usually an hourly rate or lump sum or 3 different other types of fee structures. So every hour you have to be cautious of that, right? And with a smaller firm, we do have lower overhead, but it's still something that we have to keep a pretty sharp eye on.
Dawn says she'd love AI to do all of the office cleanup. We're on board with that, Dawn. Like that's the way that it should be for sure. Well, I love your we've talked a little bit before, obviously, but I love your introduction into using AI because there's always a few different ways that I think, everyone should be looking at software and products and the way that they're implementing things. But just initial questions that I'm sure everyone asks when they jump into something is like, is it easy to use? Is it feasible? Is there a way for us to get a return on the energy that we're going to put into this? And your initial just introduction into using AI in these test fits and then the things that you're doing on your day to day, like what did that look like? I'm gonna pull up the presentation again while you're doing that.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm kind of jumping ahead of my slide here, but for seeing all the documentation online with test fit, there's a vast amount of YouTube videos, tutorials. We had practically no ramp up. It was a no, without a lack of a better term, a no brainer really to invest into a new tool. We're already out of the bat trying to think of very lean operations. All of our consultants are in Revit, maybe Civil 3D, which is a requirement for any of our projects. So keeping that lean strategy was is very key to us. So when we were able to find test fit through a lot of LinkedIn ads and all kind of stuff on YouTube, we were really comfortable with the commitment. And as a small firm, it's tough to do that when you already have other software, that you have to pay for and all that kind of stuff. So pulling into this the new AI software for us was a very confident decision. Especially, like I mentioned, all that stuff that we had to do before we could even start drawing on paper is inherently already built into the software, right? So we have plats already in the software, we have topography in the software, FEMA flood zones already built in, we have zoning already built in, all the stuff that would take us quite a bit of effort to get to is just a couple clicks away from the software, which is a huge advantage.
Yeah, it's got to be safe and time. What was this initial project like the first one you were, because it was a little bit, you're always testing things, right? So it sounds like you had a project that came up, you came across test fit as an option, and you're like, all right, well, let's test it, let's see what happens. What was that initial one like?
Exactly. So this is a project in Tecumseh, Michigan, a very, very small town. This was going to be like a very big project for this area. So we were engage to submit a proposal with the client who was existing client to pursue a new project type for our practice. So for us to do that, we got to have new tools and just a new way of thinking. So this was a very fast, high-paced project. We essentially delivered a pre-development package for city funding and et cetera for that for the developer. Um, when we were in the proposal phase, the time frame was really small, and we had multiple other projects happening at the same time. So we actually proposed test fit software in the proposal phase with our clients. Again, they were existing, so we're very transparent. And that's how we were actually awarded the project. They were really excited about this. They were a three-man person team. So they want to be walk through all the processes and all that. So it was great. We literally brought the software to our design meetings, showed them in person, and really developed a sense of trust on how we are developing these solutions. With our experience, micro developers, sometimes first time developers, really want to be educated in the process. They don't want to just show up to the design meeting with paper on the table and decisions already made without their involvement. So having a tool where we can do quick adjustments on the fly, come back to the office, do a little bit more diving into it, and presenting findings based on those meetings was incredibly helpful. In fact, that's our standard going forward after that project, and it's been amazing. Something we can offer totally different from what we're seeing on a different other firms on the same scale.
Yeah. So you had essentially like you had jumped into test fit when this project came through. You had started putting together options already that were, that followed the zoning and all of the ordinances there. And then you actually took what you had produced live to the client and you guys started moving things around even there, like with the client live. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, spinning the model, adjusting the unit matrix. I mean, you cannot do this with butter paper in 30 seconds, right? And having the previous calculation live right in front of you, your parking calculations live right in front of you. This particular project had a second parking lot. There you go. So we were considering looking at a Braswell site to add an extra parking calculation. So yeah, and it's like, for example, if we wanted to add one more unit to this development, it drove, inches that we're looking for, not feet. So having a tool that provides that instantaneously is extremely powerful. So.
And I can speak. I was telling Casey yesterday when we were chatting that I grew up about 30 minutes from Tecumseh and can also agree that there was nothing else in Tecumseh, Michigan. In Tecumseh, Michigan. So even for we're talking about like the less populated areas, this tool is still working really effectively, which is incredible because it's usually kind of like the last the last things that are addressed. So the fact that it's working, I mean, what would you say to there's probably small firm owners I'm guessing in here today that are like, I'm really hesitant to like show how the sausage is made, behind the scenes to bring this thing live and work on it together with them. How is that actually? Did you have that hesitancy at first at all, or like how did they actually respond to that?
No, so I think we kind of my partner and I get that experience from bigger projects.
Yeah.
So you have to make decisions on big and small projects that are educated and thoughtful, and there's got to be a reason behind it. A lot of our clients are for profit, right? So they are developing something that has to have an investment on return. And so bringing a tool like that, is the transparency factor that is really important. Were we nervous about it? Not at all. We're utilizing technology all the time. And if anything, it's being reinforced when we mess up, right? So we like to show them behind the scenes. And that's really, it builds a really great level of trust, especially for folks that, let's say these developers are first time and they're coming from completely different industries. We're not trying to overtalk them on why what is an impervious charge, and we can show them live on why that calculates up really quick. We often get this statement, I'm going to buy 5 to 6 acres. And are you telling me we can barely get, the parking calculations in there for the detention pond and all that? And we show them why, how we can utilize the parks and how that quickly adds up really, really fast. So with all that saying, we love the aha moments, right? And so we get a lot of this from our clients. Ah, okay, now I understand what you guys are doing this for, and this makes sense, right? And so, um,
Sure.
with all that, we really bake out a really good project. There's a sense of confidence from the very beginning all the way to the end, and being transparent is 100% the way to go.
Got it. So all right. So we did this first project here. You went one for one, right? You kind of introduced the product. You decided, wow, this is awesome. I'm even going to take this to the client meeting, going to show it. You win the project. And now, I mean, obviously you're going to continue to use this kind of method afterwards, but how has it actually transformed how you are going out and doing that type of work today?
Yeah, okay. So that's what I was kind of hinting earlier. It completely changed our thought process on this. So, a lot of these smaller folks get less desirable land, right? So sometimes they're brownfield sites, sometimes they're triangle sites, all kind of really difficult sites, and that helps them again maximize their investment on return, right? So, what we're now offering with our current clients and some of our future clients, if the product's the right fit, we are now doing free test fits. We're utilizing this tool to the point where we can say, hey, look, let's look at 4 or 5 sites before you guys make go forward into an auction period or something like that. Let's really just spend a good hour within the software and then see what we can do. And so that's incredibly helpful. I mean, again, before we had this tool, that's a big upfront cost on our end, spending 20, 30 hours of non-agreeable labor, essentially, in
Yeah.
hopes to win the project, right? But now I can put that in an hour and twist around the model, show them our tool live. It helps with new clients and walk them through the design process before we even get a agreement signed. So
Yeah.
um, we couldn't offer that a year ago, right? So especially on our scale, right? Bigger firms, maybe so, but that's a great way to start off a project before we even have a signature. Again, we're building a level of trust, walking through the process that we're going to bring through, and it's a game changer for us.
And I think this is really important to notice because I mean, anyone that's been following me long enough knows that I'm always encouraging architects to increase their fees, to charge more, to do these things. And you're taking something that used to take 20 or 30 hours, right? That like there's just no reasonable way you could do that for free. But now you are able to do it for free and you're actually using it as a lead engine, right? It's like we can take multiple steps forward. We can really move forward fast and get our foot in the door with this method and get into conversations and work together and kind of collaborate before that contract is signed, which to your point really helps to build that trust and build that rapport. And subconsciously, whether we like to admit that or not, I mean, the further and the deeper that you're getting into these conversations with potential clients, the more that they're already bought in to working with you. So if you can take them through that process further, I mean, you're sitting pretty right at the end of it because you've already done so much of that work up front.
Yep. We hope that's the intent, but yeah, and all of our since we're our level, and I keep kind of emphasizing how small we are, we really rely on deep engagement from our clients, right? We don't just have them sit back and expect a deliverable by the end of the month. So showing them through a tool like this, without getting into like technical to like Revit or anything that's like really really technical driven. Um, it automatically kind of sets the stage of what we expect from them, right? And it works. It works pretty good for our end. And again, it's all about setting up the project from the beginning, bake it out, have a really nice level of confidence before we go for the permit. So,
And while we're going to open up for questions in a couple of minutes. So if you have questions, please drop them into, I don't know, Steven, can you tell me into into Q&A or into the chat. I mean, one of those places we'll find it. But while we're teeing that up, if you have questions, I mean, Casey, what would you say to, I mean, what's your advice for other firm owners? Like, how do you begin exploring this? How do you think about implementing it into your business? What does that look like?
Yeah. Yeah, great question. I push to not get comfortable with dated software. That's our big push. There's a lot of things changing right now, especially over the last 24 months. Stay on top of the technology if you can. You explore new tools. Um, you know, you gotta not don't just do one thing great. Do a bunch of other things great too. So, and tools like this can help other firms grow, stay competitive, without really scaling up your staff and overhead. And yes, Tyler, I know you push speed, so that's good to hear that as well. But you can also find ways to offer service like this for very other competitive firms as well, and still grow in size of portfolios and other product types.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I mean, this could be another revenue driver. You're using it as a lead magnet, but to your point, like, again, this is something that used to take 20 to 30 hours of a team to do, and now you can do it in 1 hour. So you could literally just have a business doing test fits if you wanted to. Architects are way more valuable than that, so you should go beyond it. But it's there, and the opportunity exists now. So that's pretty wild. All right, Steven is rocking his way through answering these. And by the way, Steven is works for TestFit, and he's answering some of these questions as we're running through them. But does anyone have a question for Casey about how AI is being used today in the business, how you could use it in yours, and things that he's seeing work best? I'll let that pop in. What's going on?
Yeah,
What's on the books right now, Casey? Like, what are you prepping for coming up?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm Steven's going through a lot of questions right here. So
Yeah, he's flying through them.
yeah. Yeah, what's on the books? So we are focused on really light industrial projects. There's a need for 4 to 5 acre land lots in 50,000 square foot buildings. So having software like this really helps us figure out how to study the land, topography, retention, all that kind of stuff. All the tools that are really built into the software, and make solutions for those type of projects. Yeah. But again, Texas is going strong right now, and it's great to see that people are still developing, and we're happy to use tools like this to keep up with the pace.
Here's a good one. How do you integrate TestFit into your Revit workflow, assuming that you're using Revit or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. I did see some questions about basically 3D. So awesome question. So there's a direct plugin within Revit. So you can actually export back and forth and develop a massing model, which is what we usually start off with. So we'll do a massing model for early elevation studies, programming some flows, stuff like that. So you're not recreating the same diagram and bringing back and forth. What's also really great, and I think I found it really helpful, is the ability to import backgrounds into TestFit. You can import an actual hard survey, technical drawings, and really start tightening up the scale and all that. So with that said, there's a lot of communication back and forth between softwares, and also the ability to bring in other tools within TestFit to actually build a better solution. So.
That's awesome. And Evan, I see your question pop in. We won't pull open the software today, but there is a lot online that you can look and you can see it in action to dive in. Justin, other than TestFit, how have you been using AI in unique ways?
Yeah. So there's some really great tools that help bring renderings to the next level. So our program is really render heavy. If anybody goes on our website, you can check that out. We actually don't even ask our clients to pay for renderings. It's something we do to support our business and show the vision that we really want at the end of the project. So we've been using AI tools to enhance them. We're still manually doing the modeling. We're not just typing in a prompt, but we use it to enhance some of the features such as animating still images, landscaping, lighting studies, stuff like that. So there again, this is the last 24 months. There's been so many tools. Uh, we decided to focus on test fit, but there's a lot others out there that can really start amplifying what architects, engineers, and developers can use.
For sure, yeah. And we're almost at time. I think if it's okay with you, Casey, like we can hang on for a little bit and keep answering questions. At least I have some more time. I'll pull this up just while we're chatting. If you're interested in test fit and trying it out, scan that QR code. You're gonna get $50 off of it. And if you want to go a little bit more on the premium route, you can check out the test fit site solver and you can reach out to sales at test fit. But highly encourage everyone, like we should be, I mean, whether it's test fit or not, like be exploring these tools. They're amazing. Try them for yourself. We want to be leading the charge. And when I say we, I mean like the industry, right? The professionals that are actually working in it, we should be the ones that are leading the use of these and implementing them into our business models, just like you have. And so fully encourage you, please dive in and start exploring these and see if they work for your business. All right, we've got some really great questions. Casey, again, have you considered creating an AI agent internally with your methodology of setting up a project so you can instantly do full feasibilities? And if so, how's it going?
No,
That would be amazing. I
but
mean, another question, do you have a full development team behind you of AI builders?
yeah, no, I'll leave that for the developers and test, but maybe we can be the guinea pigs on that. But no, we still do a lot of things old school ways. Again, I think Tyler mentioned that, just hit this on the head here. Being Let the industry folks like us help dictate folks like TestFit on new products, right? So, in fact, if you read the history on TestFit and how it got started, it's really compelling. That's a really good selling point or why we jumped into it. These aren't just folks designing something in a bubble. They're listening to folks like us with feedback and continuously developing. They're always updating the tool. So not to defer from the question, but maybe that'll be a new feature TestFit can offer.
A good feature. We've been adding those to TestFit Plate, I feel like since we started preparing for this webinar. But I mean, to your point, in my experience, right? So I started in architecture, but went to tech and then came back to architecture. And in my experience, the best products by far are the ones that are being solved by people that have actually experienced those problems, right? So Clifton and the co-founders of TestFit, I mean, they are from the industry. They experienced these problems in mass, right? And they went out to create something that could solve that. And so it's just awesome to see that come together. Jose Rios sounds like he might be a friend of you, Casey, but great seeing you, Casey. But what is the software learning curve on average?
Great questions, eh? No rainbow. It really isn't. I've seen way more difficult softwares that claim to be easier, to be honest. So, again, there is a huge knowledge base online that anybody can access. YouTube videos, they're like really short, like 1 to 2 minute, get straight to the point type of stuff. And again, I think there's also a database as well where we can post questions. So ramp up learning software right off the bat. I mean, we completed this project in 3 weeks. We didn't have 4 weeks to figure it out. So it's hours versus days, right? And again, the staff has been really supportive. The support team has been really supportive of acknowledging questions and errors. And this thing is also being updated, like I think weekly or bi-weekly, and with the update logs, so you get to see all the new features being out, and it's pretty exciting when you get to click that button. But anyways, yeah, we really encourage other folks to get into it. It's a powerful, easy tool to figure out. It has a lot of complicated things you can extract from it, but it's not complicated to get those pieces. So
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, because I mean, there's no way of getting over the complexity that is the work that you do as architects, right? So that's still there. You're still getting the information that you need, but we're doing it in a simplified way. That's the magic, right? That's what we're all doing it for.
Exactly.
Yeah, Casey, thank you so much for joining. Everyone, thanks so much for participating. And be sure to, go check out Motif Architects. Say thank you to Casey for sharing all of this because there's been so many great things here. And thanks so much to Test Fit for jumping in. Again, that QR code, go scan it, go check out Data Maps and try it for yourself. You get $50 off with that, or just reach out to sales@testfit.io if you want to get a demo and you want to see how this could actually be used for your firm. But Casey, yeah, thank you so much for sharing so much and for being so generous with what you've learned.
Yeah, yeah, and look forward to do it again and talk about some new tools. So thanks everyone, and yeah.
Talk soon. All right, see y'all.